Hi, Ghost Recaps here. Today we will be going through an action, sci-fi movie from 2013. Named, After Earth. There will be spoilers ahead in this video, so chill out and enjoy. In the near future, overpopulation and climate change have brought global destruction to Earth. It was now difficult for humans to live on Earth, that's why an organization known as the Uniting Ranger Corps was formed. 1,000 years ago, humanity was resettled on a planet called Nova Prime. But even here, humans are not safe. Because an alien species called the Skrull sent a group of Ursa to kill humans. Ursa are dangerous hunters that were bred to kill humans. Although they cannot see, they can feel fear, and they are able to hunt people by detecting the pheromones secreted when they are frightened. If any person overcomes his fear, he becomes invisible to Ursas. Because of them, the human race is in danger of extinction again. 1,000 years ago, the Rangers who helped humans clear Earth found a way to defeat Ursa. Commander-in-Chief Cypher has created a technique called ghosting, where he can fearlessly fight Ursa by making himself invisible to them. Using this technology, the Rangers defeat Ursa and live peacefully on Nova Prime. The scene is of a group of teenagers training to become Rangers in the human settlement of Prime Nova. One of the ambitious teenagers is Kitai, the son of Commander Cypher. Kitai's older sister, Senshi, was killed by an Ursa, so he works hard every day to become a Ranger and fight them. On the day of the evaluations, the evaluator tells Commander Kitai that his test scores are impressive but his field activity is average. Hence, he is not selected as a Ranger. Kitai retaliates, but the commander rejects negotiations. Later in the evening, when Cypher returns home from a mission, Kitai tells him that he failed to get promoted. Instead of showing consolation towards his son, Cypher remains as calm as ever and remarks that Kitai must not have been prepared, as the commander knows what he is doing. After dinner, Cypher tells Faya that he is leaving on his last trip to Ifitos to train some Rangers. He plans to retire after the trip. Fia tells him to take Kitai with him so he can learn how to be a Ranger. She vaguely states that Kitai blames himself for the death of his older sister, Senshi. The next day, Cypher and Kitai prepare to leave for the expedition. The Rangers are also taking the captured Ursa aboard their ship to use in training. Everyone boards the spaceship, and eventually it takes off. Halfway through their journey, Cypher tells Kitai to rest like the others. But because of the uncomfortable seat, he does not get sleep. So he goes to a restricted area where Ursa was kept. He is then stopped by a Ranger, who mocks him for being an intruder. A group of Rangers allows him to approach the restrained Ursa to see if she is as fearless as her father. But Ursa smells Kitai's fear and growls. Cypher then wakes up and probes the force of gravity in the ship using the technology embedded in his ring. He noticed that something was wrong and ordered the Rangers to secure all the cargo. He rushes to tell the Rangers to be on full alert and orders Kitai to put on his life suit and strap into his seat. Cypher then goes to the cockpit and informs the pilots that they are headed for an asteroid storm. Before they can make their way right, the ship is hit by asteroids, which causes its engine to fail. Cypher orders the pilots to enter the nearest wormhole, so they can travel to a different anchorage. The ship passes the wormhole safely and appears near Earth, with the law stating that no one should return due to its dangers. Cypher wants to go elsewhere, but the pilots point out that the ship is heavily damaged, meaning they must land as soon as possible. Cypher is hesitant to land on her old home as Earth has become a Class 1 quarantine planet after the humans left, but she has no choice. As the ship plummets to Earth's surface at uncontrollable speed, Cypher approaches his son and calms him down. Just then, the ship begins to break apart, causing everyone around Kitai to fall overboard. In the end, Kitai faints and falls to the surface of the Earth. Man has returned to Earth after 1,000 years. After a while, he wakes up and looks around to find the bodies of fellow Rangers. Luckily, she finds Cypher and confirms that he is still alive, so Kitai sits beside him and waits for him to wake up. When Cypher regains consciousness, he asks Kitai how many people are left. But it turns out that everyone else is dead except him. Also, the back of the ship is missing, which means the captured Ursa landed somewhere else. Cypher believes that the creature may die from the impact but still tells Kitai to be careful. Cypher gives Kitai an emergency beacon that can be used to send a signal to the rescue group at Prime Nova. But they are dismayed to find that the beacon has been completely destroyed. Then, Kitai takes Cypher to the control room, which is still working. From there, Cypher learns the location of another beacon, which is at the rear of the ship. A hologram reveals that the second beacon has landed 100 kilometers from its current location. Without the beacon, they will never be able to return home, so they must retrieve it. But since Cypher is not in working order, Kitai has to do the job himself. Cypher warns him about creatures from Earth that have evolved over the past 1,000 years to kill humans. The journey won't be easy for Kitai, but Cypher will be keeping an eye on him and his routes from the control room at all times. Cypher gives Kitai his weapon, a wrist communicator, and 6 capsules of a fluid that increases oxygen intake so he can breathe in Earth's low oxygen environment. He also tells him that there are cameras in the life suit and backpack, so Cypher will see everything Kitai sees. He tells Kitai to take the capsules at regular intervals and sends him off on his journey. Starting their journey, Kitai climbs a steep hill and reaches the top. There he is mesmerized to see the many lives on Earth. Rapid thermal changes are now taking place on the Earth, due to which the nights have become so cold that it is not possible to tolerate them. That's why Cypher advises Kitai to reach for hot spots caused by geothermal energy every night to keep himself warm. After that, Cypher checks the condition of his legs and sees that they are severely damaged. He takes painkillers for a while, which makes him unconscious. By noon, Kitai reaches a forest when Cypher sees a creature coming towards him from the monitor. He informs Kitai about the creature and tells him to stay put. The animal turned out to be an evolved predatory ape. Kitai gets scared and throws a stone at the animal, which attracts a group of monkeys who chase him. A worried Cypher gives him directions as Kitai runs for his life. The monkeys leave him after he jumps into the river. Eventually, Kitai stopped running. At that moment, Cypher notices that Kitai has toxins in his bloodstream and asks his son to examine his body. Kitai realizes he has a leech on his hand and immediately removes it, but the creature has already released its venom into his body. Kitai begins to lose his sight, and his body stops moving. Cypher orders him to get an antidote from his medical kit. Kitai injects the dose and faints soon after. After a while, Cypher wakes up Kitai, saying that the temperature is dropping rapidly as the night draws near. If he does not want to die of cold, he must immediately reach a warm place. Kitai wakes up, fully healed from the leech's poison, and moves on. Meanwhile, Cypher performs make-do surgery on his legs to improve them but learns he doesn't have much time left. In that moment, he remembers the time he wished his daughter a happy birthday before her death. After a while, Kitai finally reaches the first hotspot. He checks his equipment throughout the day and sees that 2 capsules of liquid that increases oxygen level have been destroyed, but he lies to his father and says he has them all. Cypher sees a reaction on the screen that may indicate a lie, but says nothing more. Kitai takes a vial and hides under a tree while it starts to rain, so he uses this opportunity to ask his father how he managed to overcome fear during the battle. Cypher tells him that once Ursa struck him on the shoulder with her claws, and during the struggle, they fell into the river. Ursa tried to drown him, but when Cypher accepted his death, Pincer came out because Ursa could not find him anymore. Cypher understood that even if anger is present, the fear is not real. It is simply a thing of people's thoughts about the future. The next day, he continues his journey. Halfway through the day, Cypher begins to see signs of Ursa's presence in the area. Kitai reaches a high waterfall, which he must cross in order to reach his destination. Cypher asks him to check his supplies, and he is dismayed to see that he only has 2 vials of liquid oxygen left. An embarrassed Kitai says he can reach the end with just the 2 of them, but Cypher tells him to abort the mission. At the same time, Kitai remembers the day his sister Senshi died. An Ursa had attacked their home, and, as always, Cypher was on a mission elsewhere. To save his brother's life, the Senshi placed him inside a glass sphere where Ursa could not smell his dread. That day, Kitai saw his sister die in front of him, and to this day, he blames himself for it. In the present, Kitai argues with Cypher, claiming that he is not a coward. Cypher tries to calm him down, but in a moment of rage, Kitai jumps off a cliff. He uses his suit to change the direction of his fall. Just when he thinks he can reach the bottom, a large bird attacks him and breaks his communicator. Now, Cypher has no way to contact Kitai. After a while, Kitai wakes up in a bird's nest, surrounded by her babies. Before he could get out, they were all attacked by a group of leopards. The mother bird fights with the one on top of the nest, while Kitai fights with a leopard inside it. By the end of the battle, all of the bird's babies were dead. As he tries to revive them in desperation, Kitai runs away. Meanwhile, Cypher tries to find Kitai via her satellite monitor but finds 2 rangers hanging from a tree, which means Ursa is out and about. Cypher decides to record a message for his wife, telling her simply that he has lost his son. Meanwhile, Kitai continues to travel through the forest and hides inside a cave to escape the cold of the night. Without his father's guidance, he has to rely on his memory to reach the rear of the ship. He spots a map on the wall and decides to follow it. The next morning, he continues the journey but is troubled by the same bird following him everywhere. At noon, he has difficulty breathing, so he takes his last vial of oxygen. Then, in order to reach the tail quickly, he builds a raft out of sticks and continues his journey. After some time, Kitai falls asleep, and his sister tells him in a dream that he is nearing his destination. He wakes up just before the temperature starts to fluctuate and moves around looking for hot spots. However, without Cypher's help, he is unable to find her. The temperature drops extremely low, and everything around it freezes. Soon, Kitai falls to the ground unconscious, and we see something pulling him to a warm and safe corner. Kitai wakes up the next morning to find that the bird has saved his life. It covered it with leaves and twigs, treating it like its chicks. Kitai thanks the bird but sees that it is already dead. However, wasting no time, he moves on and eventually finds the back of the ship. He finds a vial of liquid oxygen and takes it immediately, which refreshes him somewhat. Then he sees that Ursa is missing from where she was supposed to be. Kitai finds the beacon and contacts Cypher using the panel in the tail. Cypher, who is only partially conscious, is delighted to see his son alive. However, Kitai is unable to hear her due to some technical problems. Kitai then tries to use the beacon, but it does not work due to atmospheric interference. Cypher tells him to try from a different location, but since Kitai can't hear him, he becomes more frustrated. But after a while, Kitai sees a volcano nearby and decides to try using the beacon on top of it. However, trouble soon ensues when the lost Ursa tracks down Kitai and senses his fear. Cypher sees this from the monitor and is worried for her. Kitai, on the other hand, learns that the creature is following him and starts running. Ursa attacks Kitai, but he manages to save himself by jumping into a reservoir and climbing a mountain. Just then, the temperature starts to drop, so Kitai freezes and falls to the ground. At the same time, Cypher also faints due to an injury. Kitai reaches out to Ursa, thinking about his father's words. He remembers that the fear is not real and is all in his mind. Just then, the creature goes right behind Kitai and is unable to detect him. He has removed the fear from his mind and is now able to show the ghost to the creature. Using his newfound courage, Kitai easily kills the creature. He then uses the beacon to send a signal to their rescue team, and within hours the Rangers arrive to rescue them. Kitai is worried about his father, but when he checks on him, he confirms he is fine. Cypher forces his aching body to stand to salute his son with respect for his bravery, but Kitai rushes to embrace his father as he says that he wants to work with his mother. For the first time, Cypher hugs him and replies that he too wants to retire. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Have a nice day.